Where's that? All right, are y'all ready to get the show started?
Yeah.
Pat, I'm going to do our 30-second countdown like always. That never makes it into the show.
Never makes the edit.
Josh, I'm going to hit a 30-second timer. It'll mute us for 30 seconds, and when that 30 seconds is over, the show starts.
Okay.
So I'll see you guys in another life.
Another life.
TPS reports, hey guys, hey everybody, we're back. As you can see, I'm Justin, the only one without a last name here apparently. Joined once again by Pat Dixon. Pat, what's up, buddy?
What's up, guys?
And for the first time ever, joined by Joshua Padron. Josh, how are you, sir?
How's it going, man? Thanks for having me.
Dude, thank you for joining us. Guys, 2025, we're here. 2025 is here. I'm excited. We had our first tournament February 8th at Brass Tap. It was non-ball. $1,000 added, as every event will be this year. It was our normal non-ball tournament, race to 3, 2 out of 3 sets. We paid out a total of $3,890. It's a pretty good start to the year. Before we go any further, let's just go ahead and get like our start. Let's get like our thoughts here on the start of the year, what we thought that tournament was going to be. Josh, we'll start with you being the newbie here. What was your thoughts? Like, what did you think the tournament was going to be? You know, and what do you just think about the overall 2025 season coming up?
Man, I didn't play last season any of the ranking events. I did play Brass Taps, and I played the big 30-year from Smoking Q.
Yes.
So it technically part of the tour, but not within the tour points. So I had just like a small amount of experience with the pool series. But I think 2024 was a great year. And I think for 2025, there's been a lot of improvements. And there's been more given to the players. And it's open events. It's more money. The competition's gotten a lot stiffer. And I think it's just going to be a great circle to, just push the game and the sport forward.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that. Yeah, every event this year is going to be a points event. We have 20 regular season events that will culminate in the Tour Championship. 64 players this year make the Tour Championship, and that'll be a $2,500 added event once again. Pat, you missed this tournament, man. You didn't really miss, I think, but one last year. So you're starting off strong this year, man. But what's your thoughts, dude?
Man, how the turntables, as Michael Scott would say. But yeah, I thought the thing that sticks out to me about this one is I'm so happy that everything we're doing, everywhere we're going, is going to be a points event. Because me and you have talked about this too, Justin. Raleigh has some of the best players in the state of North Carolina, all frequenting that one particular establishment, being Brass Taps. So, I mean, just looking at the field, this is one of the strongest fields that we've had in a year and a half. You know what I mean? If we pick this field up and put it in 2024, we could say it's number one, if not number two, excluding the 30th anniversary event. So it's exciting because I think we're going to be able to grab some more folks that are going to travel around with us as well in hopes of getting to the championship. So if this is how we're starting, we can't wait to see where we are at the end of the year. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah, for sure. And if you look at the list of players, I think it's 5 players with a 700 Fargo. That's really good. That's really good for a 32-man local tournament, one-day event. You can't really do much more than that. Josh, when you saw the players list for this tournament, what did you think about it?
Man, it's kind of what I was expecting, to be honest with you, because a lot of these guys, they've been playing. They're not only really good, but they've also been playing a lot of pool.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been going to a lot of events, and Brass Taps, and especially with the good advertisement the pool series being done and the $1,000 added, it was just bound to attract like some of the best competition. They might have just been. I think I saw in 2024 one of you guys' podcasts, and you guys were talking about the other event you came to Brass Taps, saying that was the strongest field you've had, to date.
Yeah.
And I think everyone on that field was here except I don't know if Josh Roberts played that time, but
Yeah, he played the first time.
He played.
Yeah.
He did play, right? So
Did not
yeah,
cash,
he didn't
though.
even make any money somehow. I think that's what
Yeah.
it was, which was really surprising. But other than that, that was the only player from that field that did not play this time around. And then this time around, we had another, a few other great players. I mean, Jazz made second place, right?
Yeah.
And then Josh Newman, I haven't seen him in a long time. Fantastic player. He came all the way. So I think you guys are right. This might have been even stronger than that tournament.
Yeah, I think it was. I mean, obviously you didn't have the big guy of Josh Roberts, but I think you replaced him with 3 or 4 other guys because you also had Greg Dix. Greg Dix is a really good player. Steve Page didn't play the first time. Steve Page is a really good player. So, yeah, you kind of replaced, one of the best players in the country, but you replaced him with probably 3 or 4 of the top guys in the states of the Carolinas. So I was pretty happy about that. Pat, what did you think about the player list, and were you upset that you didn't get to play?
Be pissed off for the next month because I'm not going to be able to play. But just a point that you guys are making. I'm looking at this stat right now. 54% of the field had a 600 Fargo and up. Right, so over half the field, we're talking about some pretty talented level players coming out of that area. Where I think normally we probably have around maybe close to about 40-45% in that 500 Fargo and up. So just speaks to, just like you said, yeah, maybe we didn't have another giant in Josh Roberts, but he kind of, allowed for 3 or 4 other really, really good players to jump in and join the field. Really exciting to see Josh Newman come out of retirement as well. I hope we see a lot more of him this year. It's really inspiring thing. You're doing a tournament, you got these guys like Josh Newman coming out of retirement, man. That's exciting.
Absolutely. What were you going to say, Josh?
Yeah, there's a few. He's Pat's talking about some of the guys, in the low 600, but there's a few guys in there because they just don't have a lot of robustness. That you could arguably say they're significantly better than just 600.
Absolutely. And there's not really too many. Yeah, go ahead, Pat.
I was going to say, who are some that come to mind? The first one for me is Josh. Like the way that guy was playing that night, I can't believe he's not a 700 Fargo at least right now.
Yeah, there's a bunch of players. There's just not too many events in North Carolina that you really use digital pool or use Fargo.
Right.
I mean, so there's a lot of players I think that are, they're either some are way too high, and then some are just pretty lower than they should be. But I think maybe if they keep playing in the pool series events, maybe they'll start to get closer to where they are supposed to be. Because, I mean, really, honestly, all 3 of us here right now, all 3 of us are probably not where we should be if you look at our Fargos. I don't know. What do you think about that, Josh? You think all 3 of us are where? I mean, you probably haven't really seen Pat play much, but
I haven't seen Pat. Just a couple of balls out there. I don't know where Pat is at in Fargo. Where are you at, Pat?
585 or
830, 840. No, I'm at
I'm so glad you didn't play.
I think last I checked, it was like a 510 is where I'm at right now.
Oh, yeah, so definitely better than 510. Yeah, because I've seen you hit balls. Definitely better than 510. And then I think, Justin, you're like a 630 right now or something like that, maybe 640?
Yeah, 638, I think, last time I played in one of our tournaments.
Yeah, definitely should be a little bit better than that, in my opinion. But I mean, there's a few guys out there. I was, it's funny how it happens. Let me see. Let me go down this list real quick. The guy that I practiced with, I think he was, is it Michael, the guy that takes the pictures?
Chris Clark.
That's right.
Yeah.
Man, he shows as a 552 Fargo, and I practice with him, and it just so happens that how many times you go to a tournament, you practice with somebody, and then you draw in the first round, and that's what happened. I was really impressed when I saw that he was a 552. I'm like, this guy plays way better than a 552. I don't know what his robustness is, but I was impressed with his game.
Yeah, his robustness isn't too many at all. Most of his matches have been in our tournaments, and
that's what I figure.
But yeah,
there's a few guys like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me go ahead and read off our sponsors here to thank these guys for helping us run this tournament, and then we'll dive into who cashed in this event. So get ready here. There's a long list of sponsors here. We have a lot. Thank you so much to all of them. Deadstroke Media, first and foremost. Pat, thank you so much. Inkwell Design, JC Riggs, making another great trophy for us, like always. Portico Licensed General Contractors. They're going to be sponsoring the One Pocket Tournament, which we'll be having in a few weeks. Pool Doctors, Josh Mullenix. He actually drove up and played in the tournament. So thanks, Josh, for playing. The Roundabout Grill, great place to go eat. Red's Debris Removal and Hauling, always been a sponsor. Brained Solutions, thanks for jumping on board. Fast Action Billiards, they're a sponsor. We'll be having a few tournaments up there this year in Statesville. TKO Custom Cues, Kirk Overcash makes a great looking cue. Delta Xi Nu, the charitable foundation. They got a charity golf tournament coming up on April 4th. Y'all go search for that. Get signed up. Go give money to a good cause. And Alpha Installations, we all know Rhett, who's played in a bunch of our events. He didn't make this one. Maybe too far of a drive for him. But thank you all so much for sponsoring the pool series. We really appreciate you. And one more note before we do dive into on this tournament. This was the first time we streamed on YouTube. So let's I'll get Pat's thoughts on that first, as he was at home watching. Pat, what did you think about the YouTube stream?
I think it's the right move. I think YouTube is a more stable platform and it's more versatile. So if I want to watch it on my phone or my computer or on the big screen, I've got that option. Whereas Facebook, I'm kind of limited to just on like some kind of mobile device. So everything looked great. You guys sounded amazing. You think the stream looked good all night long. I don't remember any buffering at all. So great job.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Josh, what do you think about us switching over to YouTube?
I agree with Pat 100%. It's a more stable platform. It also gives you more options, from the viewer perspective, and you can also share it cross-platform, which is, obviously Facebook is big with the pool community. So, but YouTube allows you to close platform and share the stream over there. So I think it works out really well as well.
Yeah, I think it was a great job. I think it was a great switch. Both of you guys kind of convinced the board to do it. So thank you guys. All right, so the top 8. We pay out the top 8, 25% of the field, which I always say is what a pool tournament should be. So we try to stick to that. I'll read off the top 8, and we'll kind of talk about what sticks out to us. So first place was Guama. That makes them 2 for 2 at Brass Tap in the pool series events. Second place, Jazz McConney. He's only 15 years old. Just going to throw that out there. Third place, Steve Page. He only got in because somebody called in Saturday morning and said they couldn't make it, and
That's
Steve
true.
was there, so I replaced him. Fourth place, BJ Ussery. Lost twice to Guama, only person to beat him. Fifth, sixth was Diego Guerrero and Corey Sykes. And seventh, eighth was Thomas Sansone and Greg Kane. We're going to go with you first, Josh, and get your thoughts. What just sticks out? What's the first thing you want to talk about looking at that top 8?
Well, you know what? Let's talk about Diego Guerrero. Never heard of the guy. I saw him play a little bit. That sticks out.
Yeah, Diego. So Diego played last year when we were up at Brass Tap. I believe he went 2 and out. He played on the stream, lost to Jacob Blake. I did not expect much from him, and now he comes in here and beats what? Mike Davis and Josh Newman?
That's what I'm saying.
Had 2-0 on both of them as well.
That's crazy.
That's nuts.
And he didn't even buy himself in the Calcutta.
I mean, he won't make that mistake again. No one else will let him make that mistake again. And then he even went to the hill with Steve Page. In fact, he went to the hill with Steve Page and BJ. He was
and BJ. That's right.
It's nuts.
That's right.
It's unbelievable, man. Good for him. Super nice guy. I've talked to him at both tournaments I've seen him at. Seems like a super nice guy. I did get word that he does play a lot, though. Somebody was telling me that they see him play a lot over at Break Time in Cary. So,
okay.
So, yeah, Josh, if you see him at a weekly tournament now, man, you know that maybe you should buy him in the Calcutta.
There you go.
Yeah, I definitely think.
So that's a good one. Obviously, he was not part of the top 3, but, he made it pretty deep. And for somebody that, I would have not put him to be on the top 4 or 5, places out there. Obviously, everybody else. Gregorio Sanchez, Guama, first place. Do you guys think he was the favorite, or was it BJ in you guys' opinion?
Pat, I'll let you answer first.
I think Guam has the favorite, even with BJ showing up. Specifically, well, I would say two things. Number one, because he beat him the first time. So I'm thinking same matchup, same location. He always, I always see Guam going live and practicing there, especially on that tight table. I think it might be table 14, whatever it is that's back there in the corner. I felt like he had the edge going into it. And was that too real quick off the bat? Yeah, the fact that they've done this before, and it's kind of like home field for him. I don't know where BJ's like home turf is, if it's Brass Tack or somewhere else.
BJ considers Smoking Q his home bar, I believe.
Okay, there you go. But Guam has also just been playing some phenomenal pool. I think I last saw him. Was he at the Derby?
Yep. He made a lot of money at the Derby.
Yeah, he was playing. So he's been playing some heavy high stakes pool lately and playing very, very well. So for me, for all those reasons, I had him as the favorite winning this. Jazz scared me a little bit on that pick, though. I saw how well he was playing. I was like, oh, are we going to see kind of like a Cinderella story happening here, the first tournament of the year? But Guama did his job. He did what he was supposed to do.
Yeah, I think Sanchez was the favorite also because I think he's the only player in this tournament, and I think we saw it in a couple of points when he was on the stream, was he doesn't necessarily have to focus 100% to still win some of these matches. I think even some of the other big guys in this tournament, they really got to play their best or at least focus, every shot, every game. Guama, it seemed like at times was just kind of nonchalant, just going up there and just kind of playing and still running out racks and winning games. And then when he needed to, such as when he played Hank Powell in the first round, he wins 3-0, 3-0. He beats BJ 3-0, 3-1, I think. The first set of the finals, which, by the way, this was the first time we had a true double elimination. He beats Jazz the first set of the finals like 3-0, 3-0. So I think he's the only player I think that can just kind of turn it on and off. Because then he goes hill, third set with Larry Hughes. Like, I don't know. That wasn't on stream, but that was crazy. Just overall, my thoughts on the top 8. When I see that top 8 and I saw the players list, to me, there's at least 3 players out of those 8 that I would not have thought would have been in the top 8. I don't know, Josh. Do you kind of feel that same way? Maybe like there was a couple surprises there.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, there was a few surprises in there. I mean, there's a few players that should have been on the top 8 that didn't make it.
Yeah, which we can talk about them.
Mike Davis didn't even make it.
Yeah, we'll dive into those guys a little bit more in a second. Another guy that I don't know, Greg Kane, who got 7th, 8th. Josh, do you know him?
Let me look him up real quick, but
he's from
he doesn't ring a bell.
He's from like New Jersey. Said he just moved here.
Okay, yeah, no.
Yeah. Pat, what was your thoughts, Pat, on like maybe seeing some of these guys that you don't know? Because I mean, you don't know Steve Page, do you, Pat?
I've heard of him before, and I saw how methodical and precise his game was. Excuse me. Let me see if I can figure out which one of those, because I was kind of catching the stream in and out. And one of the times that I was in, I caught Steve Page. I think it might have been him playing against Jazz.
Oh, yeah, Jazz, yeah.
I think it might have been him playing against Jazz. And as well as Jazz was shooting, he was shooting just as well. Cue ball placement, things like that. So, again, one of those things I love, being exposed to new players that I've never heard of or seen before, and then being able to witness great pool. I will say the thing that sticks out to me the most is probably still Guama beating BJ twice. Because for me, it begs the question, is he the better pool player? Should he be trying to go pro? Is he trying to go pro? Do we consider him professional?
Yeah, I mean, that's all he does. All he does is play pool. And, I think I've had quite a few long conversations with Guama before. He grew up in Venezuela. He's a Latin American champion. We don't hear those things here. Then he lived quite a bit in the Dominican Republic, and I mean he's been beating everyone from Argentina now all the way up here to the U.S. and he focuses mainly in gambling. Like you said, he just came from the Derby. and he made tens of thousands of dollars, over there. He has some big matchups that you can see on the stream. He just turned last week 44 years old, and he told me that he is currently playing the best pool of his life. And he's been playing nonstop. Here at Brass Taps, he's been, having big sets with Josh Roberts. And I think he's up quite a bit against Josh Roberts. And this is the second time he's played BJ at Brass Taps, like you mentioned, Pat. But he's also double did BJ a couple times at Dots, not too long ago. And I think it just kind of tilted a little bit now, on Wama's favor, because he has beat BJ, a few times. I'm not saying that, that he's better than BJ and whatnot, but we know that, once somebody beats you a couple times, in a row, especially in big tournaments in the stream, you start kind of second guessing yourself a little bit. So maybe Wama has a little bit of BJ's number right now. It's also races to 2 out of 3 sets, anything can happen, but even on that format, he still won a few times. And I'm just interested to see, what the future battles are going to hold out between them two.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we get to see them a lot on our tour, just because I think that would be fun to watch. And I think we could see a lot of back and forth if they play a lot. Like, I don't know, Guama's beaten them 3 times in our tournament, but I don't know, if they play 7 more times, I think maybe it evens out possibly.
Well, B is not going to take a lane down either. We know that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, BJ is definitely going to.
You don't get to that level. Yeah, you don't get to that level and not, and enjoy losing. So at some point, that's going to light up something on you and be like, okay, you feel me 2-3 times in a row, enough is enough.
Absolutely. I mean, that's one reason why BJ
and Guama.
Yeah. Good. No, you go, Pat.
I was going to say, BJ and Guama want to settle this on the stream. Deadstroke Media will travel to Raleigh and put on the show. Okay. So if this reaches y'all, just know I'm on the way. You just let me know.
Yes. Well, as BJ always says, he does not like to schedule matches, so it would be a spur of the moment kind of deal.
So, and Wama's down for that too, so it might actually happen.
Yeah, that'd be really awesome. I mean, I think honestly, to me, that's the top 2 players in North Carolina right now. I don't know, maybe some other people want to argue, but in my mind, at least, that's the top 2 players in North Carolina, and it's pretty awesome that they played in the very first pool series event of the year. Just saying, like, maybe this is the place to be for all you people out there. Pat, is there anybody else that you want to talk about in the top 8? Is there anything else that sticks out?
Well, I don't think so. Honestly, I don't know. Outside of like Corey Sykes, I don't know anybody else in the top 8. So I wish I was there so I could have seen them.
How crazy is it that we just now mentioned Corey Sykes' name for the first time and we're 20 minutes in really? Josh, you're really good friends with Corey. What do you think, or what did he think about his tournament run?
Well, I know what he said. He hasn't been playing, he's just kind of like me. He hasn't been playing much lately. He probably hadn't hit a ball in like 3 weeks. So he was kind of happy that he played as good as he did for not hitting any balls. I commented his match against BJ, Obviously I'm going to try to be unbiased on the stream, just the game. But obviously I'm always going to root for him. He's my friend and I've seen him play a lot. He scratched on that 1 ball, heel. He made a mistake. He wins the first set, and he made a mistake to beat BJ 2-0. And I think I even mentioned it on the commentating that match. I was like, this could be the turning point.
Yeah.
And it just so happened. I think you called it a break and run for the win. And finally, after on the very last break, he switched his spot, makes the win ball, looks like he's gonna shape on the 1 ball, and then the cue ball gets kicked into the side to give a ball ahead to BJ, and then he runs out. He did his job, but that right there could have completely changed. I think Corey has finished 3rd place a bunch of times, and I think it's about time that he win one of these. The same match with with Wama. I think if I go back to the messages, he got hooked on a ball to also be able to win against Wama. So he probably was just about 1 or 2 games away from making the finals on this tournament, even though he finished 5th place.
Yeah, he finished 5th. Yeah, which was down from our visit up there last year when he finished 3rd place.
Right.
So
all the sets were heel, all the sets that he lost. So I'm sure that knowing Corey, that's just gonna, I mean, he's also got a young family right now, but this kind of losses, just like me, will light up a fire on you, and you're gonna be like, before the next tournament, you're gonna want to practice for like a week or two before that, and then that's when we're gonna see, like actual Corey, play, the game that we always, see him. And touching back on a point that you mentioned, and I think it was you, Pat, about Guama, how he's always with Justin. He's always playing nonchalant and relaxed, and he doesn't have to focus much. I want to say that one other player, that has the ability to turn it on and off, kind of like Guama, is Corey. He has the ability to just relax and then just go down the shot and focus 100% for 5-6 seconds, come back up and be on his phone, and kind of like what Guama does. And that, sometimes you want to focus 100% on the game, but sometimes I have that ability to turn it on and off. It's going to give you that stamina, that mental stamina to like make it far on the tournament, and that's how you get consistent results too.
Absolutely, yeah. You don't want to wear yourself out mentally, but yeah, Corey likes this format too. I mean, he's this format is very similar to the one at the Expo, and he's made a couple good runs up there the last couple of years. So I feel like
third place.
Yeah. If Corey played more in more of our events, I think he wins. I think if he plays in 3 more events, he wins one of those 3. I think he should be winning at least 1 out of 5 pool series events that he plays in. Let's move on and talk about a couple of guys that didn't cash that maybe deserve to be talked about a little bit. I've been named 3. Y'all can tell me if you agree or disagree, but 3 people that I thought would have cashed. I don't really know exactly who you replace to put them in there, but Josh Newman, who finished 9th place, I thought he would cash. Mike Davis, obviously, I thought he would cash. He finished 9th. And Greg Dix, who finished 13th, I thought he would cash. I feel like driving from Myrtle Beach, I thought maybe he had, I thought he was going to come out swinging, but came up a little short. We'll start with Pat on this. Pat, do you agree with those 3, or is there somebody else that I forgot to mention?
From my perspective, he's to the top right-hand corner of my screen here, Mr. Joshua Padron. Anytime I see his name on the list, I expect that man to be in the money as well. And I mean, Josh, where did you end up finishing? You ended up finishing.
He got 9th place. He got 9th
I think
place.
I'm above.
Yeah, so you were right there. And then I know we're going to get into your matches later on. So I definitely want to hear how like your thoughts on how you played against Steve and Thomas later on. But yeah, for sure, Mike Davis thought he'd be not in the money. That's a talking point.
I mean, that's only the second pool series event he's played in where he didn't cash.
It's crazy, right? And then definitely agree with the other one in Josh Newman, even with the hiatus, even with how strong of the field this was. He's another name. If his name is on the list, he's in the money. You know what I mean? It's a given. But definitely Josh Padron. Definitely Josh Padron.
Well, I was trying not to suck up to our co-host of the show, but Josh, is there anybody that we haven't talked about yet, Josh, that maybe you thought would cash?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the list right now. I think I agree with you guys. I mean, I know Greg, he plays really good. Yeah. If I had to switch somebody out, I would, surprisingly enough, he went 2-0, Justin Mullen. Yeah. He's really good friends. I think he's really good friends with Jazz. I mean, I've seen them together. He's another junior player.
They rode together. They rode together to the tournament.
Right, but he's from around here.
Okay.
He's gotten very good. Recently I like his tempo. I like his game. So I was really surprised to see him. I mean, he's a 638 Fargo, so he's about, he's just shy of what shows Jazz being. But he plays really good. I mean, he won, or he finished. I think he finished on the top 3 on that Pro-Am tournament in Florida, for the International Open. Just
he was up there.
Yeah. So he plays really good.
Yeah, the kid does play.
I was
really
surprised
well.
He didn't cash. I was surprised he went 2-0.
Yeah, I mean, who did he lose to? I don't think.
He lost to Greg Kane 0-2, and then to Josh Mullinex 1-2. So he probably had a bad tournament, a bad showing, but that was kind of surprising just looking at all the other names.
Yeah, I will say Josh Mullenix, though, his Fargo is another one that's way too low. It has him as a 475. He plays a lot better than that, but I think his robustness is super low. Like, I think because I really feel like he's probably maybe not that far off from Justin talent wise.
Okay.
So, yeah, I don't think maybe that's not as big of an upset. Like, Justin kind of had a tough draw really between those two guys because Greg cashed, and like I said, Josh isn't really that bad of a player. I mean, I think he should probably be a 600 Fargo for sure. Yeah, let's go ahead and dive into
too.
yeah. Let's go ahead and dive
Oh yeah,
into your
sorry. Go ahead.
tournament. Let's dive into your tournament a little bit, Josh. Me and Pat didn't get to play, so the Josh Padrone tournament here, he finishes in the Jacob Blake spot, 9th through 12th. And
now that was the bubble, right?
Yeah, that's the bubble. Yeah.
Okay, so I lost them. Okay.
Yeah. So your tournament.
I try not to look at that stuff.
Yeah, your tournament went like this: you beat Chris Clark 2-0. You beat Pam Perry 2-0. Then you lost to Steve Page 2-0, and you lost to Thomas 2-0. So you never even saw a third set. I want to get Pat's thoughts on your tournament before we get yours, Josh. Pat, when you see what Josh did, what are you thinking there?
Definitely won.
Be honest, man.
One of the matches that he's. Oh, that's what we do here.
Yeah.
Figure out a new hobby, Josh, because this ain't working for you. Okay. No. I think you won the matches that you're supposed to win. You're supposed to beat Pam Perry 2-0. Chris Clark, maybe that goes to the hill if he's shooting really well that day. But I still think you definitely are supposed to win that one. Against Steve Page, from what I saw, honestly, Josh, I haven't seen too much of your game since the last event that we were here. So I don't know what improvements you might have had, but if we're just looking at it from Fargo, like on paper, then he's supposed to win that. But I don't know if there's anybody that I could put outside of a professional that you don't get a set on, So I'm especially against Thomas, I think that might be the upset, right? So definitely curious on, what was going on after those first two matches, going up 2-0 and then going up against somebody like Steve and then carrying that over to Thomas.
I just want to, here's my 2 cents. I feel like you're supposed to win all 4 of those matchups. And I think maybe the first 2, maybe you just won 2-0 and you were feeling good. And maybe against Steve, maybe you got too complacent. I don't know. But also you've beaten Steve like 20 times in a row until then. So maybe he's just due to win one because, that happens. But in my mind, you're supposed to win all 4 of those matchups that you played. So that's just my opinion. But yeah, Josh, go ahead and tell us, man, how did it go?
Well, it's going to be quick. 4 matches. I think winning 2 against Chris Clark, again, it doesn't show a little bit of the match. That match could have been closer. I won. I didn't make a single mistake in the very first set, so I won 3-0. I think I won 3-0, 3-0 actually, or it was 3-0, 3-1 against that. But I think he only got 1 game. But again, it could have been closer than that. I didn't make a single mistake on the very first set, so obviously that put pressure on Chris from there. But he still, he could have gotten a few games there, and I think he could have made it to a third set. Like I said, I think he plays good. I think if he, if he just practice a little bit more and he gets more competition, he can play really well. So, kudos to him.
I want to chime in and just say, if you saw him a year ago versus now and saw the improvement already, you would be highly impressed because I feel like in the last year, he's improved more than anybody that plays in our tournaments on a consistent basis.
For how good he plays, I mean, not really knowing him or knowing his game, it's a little surprising because I feel like, most of the guys that kind of play well, I kind of know who they are in North Carolina. Yeah. So I don't disagree with you in there. You're probably right about that. So yeah, he's a nice guy. So I hope he keeps putting in the time, and I'm sure that we'll battle up again. And then second match against Pam Perry, she's putting a lot of effort, on improving her game too. She's a local player. we've played quite a few times. I think it's just a matter of time, and she wants to get better. And matter of fact, she sent me a message on Facebook on Friday, and she's like, "Hey, do you want to play some cheap sets?" And she doesn't mind getting in the fire and see what comes out. So I think just give her another year or something like that, and she might make it kind of a little bit deeper or cash on one of these events. I wouldn't surprise that would happen. And then Steve Page, that was TV match.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see this from two perspectives. From his perspective, I think at that match he played basically his. I played him, like you said, so many dozens and dozens of times over the last few years. I think he played his A game on that match. On the first set, he didn't make a single mistake, and that was on the stream. So he did his job when it came down to that. And then from my perspective, let's see, he broke the first rack. He broke and played safety. I kicked and he ran out. I broke and ran the next rack. The following rack, I had to shoot, and that's probably what kind of changed a little bit of the match there. I had to shoot. I didn't have no choice but to shoot a 3-9 combination shot that I missed. And being races to 3, that kind of put the pressure on me a little bit. Not that I was feeling it, but I knew I couldn't, make a mistake. And I think the fact that I haven't been playing much for, competing much for the last couple of months, then I started just making mistakes. And I think I made I had a chance, I think, to make it to the hill on the second set. Or might have been the first set, actually. Yeah, on the first set. And I shot the 8 ball going to the 9 ball. When the cue left my tip, I thought I was going to come short on the 9. And then I was so surprised that the cue will just roll 3 feet past. And that was the 9 ball that I shot. It was kind of straight. It was just a little bit of an angle. I should have never missed it. But when I went down on the shot and I shot it, I shot it too quick because in my mind I was still thinking about why the cue will just roll too far. So I hadn't completely cleared my mind before I shot it, and I braked it. And that was just a mental error. And thinking back about that match, I just know that I made quite a few mental errors, and then I missed a couple shots that it was just a little strange. But that's just how the game goes. And like we talked about earlier.
Yeah, what happened with your match with Thomas? Because I think that's kind of I think we kind of all agree that might be the upset.
I think honestly, he played well.
Yeah,
I can't take anything away from him. This is my first time playing him. I don't know him very good. It shows he's a 623 Fargo. I've seen him play on the stream before when he was Gamble and stuff like that, and he played way better than I've ever seen him before. And the sets were in Hill, I think it was. The first set went Hill. He shot an 8 ball. He got out of line, and he would just shot an 8 ball that was almost frozen to the rail. The cue was frozen to the other long rail. And if I had to bet, I'm gonna get back into the table.
Yeah.
And he just went and he just sliced it in. But he knew it was such a good shot and got perfect shape on the 9 to win the first set that he started fist pumping. And I was like, oh, he knew too that it was really tough for him to make that ball.
He definitely
he made it, and
he shows his emotions. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't mind it at all.
No, I like it. No, yeah.
I knew that he knew it was a really tough shot, and he had no choice but to shoot it. So I think he played really good. And then, like I said, that went Hill, and then the other set, I think to win the second set and force the third set, I missed a very easy 7 ball. But at that point, I was just mentally a little bit not in the tournament.
Yeah.
You and I had a few conversations before. I wasn't expecting a whole lot this event out of myself because I knew I hadn't been putting the time and I hadn't been competing for a couple of months. So, and what happens sometimes is, I think kind of BJ has said something like this before. If you start, competing locally and you win, a bunch of events and whatnot, you get a little complacent and you don't practice. But all it takes is for you to lose bad, like I did against Steve Page and then against Thomas. And then usually when I have a bad loss like that, that's what motivates me to go and practice. So when I win, I don't practice.
Yeah.
But when I lose, I do.
Well, just know, this is for the pool series wise, this was the first event of the year and we got a long year. So, you can start off bad and still finish the year strong. I mean, look at the Philadelphia Eagles. They were 2-2, and now they're Super Bowl champions. So it's not how you start, it's how you finish. That's my advice of the
That's
day.
right. That's right.
I like that. So let's move on here. Let's talk about some of our stream matches. We had 11 matches on stream, which obviously you can go back on YouTube and watch on the live footage. We'll break them down and post them individually here as the week goes on. But I'll just kind of read them off and we can kind of talk, quickly. I mean, maybe some we dive into, maybe some we just kind of breeze over. But round one, Guama wins 2-0 over Hank Powell in what was the quickest match of the day. And also in round one, Diego Guerrero beating Randy Zegert 2-0. Pat, we'll start with you. I mean, do you want to say anything about either one of those matches or both of them?
No, move on. I'm kidding. No, I actually was able to jump in a little bit and see Guama versus Hank Powell. And then playing Hank before, I know that it takes him a little bit. It takes him probably a few racks to warm up, get the speed of the table down. But Guama, not at all. So it doesn't surprise me that was the fastest match of the day, knowing how those two guys play. So yeah.
Well, I have a question because the name didn't come up to me. But when you were talking about surprising or replacing three guys that didn't make the money, what about Hank Powell?
He was my honorable mention for that because normally in the pool series, Hank Powell is high up in the money. He's finishing fourth, third, somewhere towards the top. He hasn't won one.
Second. Yeah. No,
he's gotten a second place. So when it comes to the pool series tour, he's one of like the premier players that we have for sure. Yeah. It's not a huge surprise that he wasn't in the top 8, given how strong the field was. But if I had to put some money on it, I would say, yeah, Hank's going to make the top 8. He's going to cash, just because he has a really strong, consistent game, and he's one of those players that, as the night builds, his game just gets better and better and better. So
he also finished in the Jacob Blake spot 9th through 12th, getting eliminated by Greg Kane. So I think Hank, when you lose first round, it can be tough to lose first round and grind through to make the money. I mean, that's a tough feat for anybody. But Josh, Pat, finish your thoughts on the Guama and Hank match, or were you done? Yeah. Josh, what do you think about those two first round matchups, man? Guama and Hank and Diego and Randy.
I think I can only comment on the first one, Guama and Hank. I just think it's a tough spot to win. Your first match being Guama, and I think that can take a little bit of the morale away from you, knowing that that's your first match, and if you lose, it's a grind. I have to do it before, and just grinding to the loser side after losing the first match it's a nightmare. And if you're like Jazz or Justin, if you're that young and you just want to be in stroke and play all day long, you actually might enjoy that. But Hank is not a spring chicken, like they say. So I'm sure he's not gonna want to lose the first match and then having to grind it out. So mentally, I think that can affect you a little bit.
Absolutely, 100%.
And that's probably what happened.
Yeah, I think so too. I think anytime you lose first round, it's a miracle if you can make the money, and you should be happy if you cash it all from that point. Second round, obviously, we had a great matchup on the stream. BJ winning 2-1 against Corey Sykes. And we'll start off with you, Josh, on this one. What's your thoughts on that matchup? Because you were commentating with me for most of it, I believe.
Yeah, I think I saw all of it but the first rack.
And we already kind of talked about it earlier. I think we both agreed that Corey maybe should have won, or definitely had chances to possibly win. And then just that bad roll, Hill off the break was, that was the perfect break, perfect run out opportunity.
Yeah, we can always discuss, and we tend to do that in sport, right? Like the one mistake that we remember at the end, which was, that ball kick in the cue ball in there. But if we're trying to be a little impartial, the mistake really was halfway through the second set for Corey to be up 2-0, and then be able to win, because he won the first set very convincingly. And then, he could have won the second set and just not have to force a third set. And I think you and I talked about it on the stream. It's once you should have won that second set, and then you're being forced into playing the third set, that kind of changes a little bit, So I think that's where the mistake was. They both didn't play their A game, but they played pretty solid. I know the table was playing, a little bit funny in certain spots. You're on the stream. Corey and I joked about this. I think he's lost to BJ like 6 times on the hill every time.
Yeah, I mean, that's at least that's at least the third time that I've seen him lose on the hill to BJ, and that's just in recent memory. Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's been quite a few break time in Winston-Salem too. I mean, in some brutal losses like 6-6. So you just gotta wait and see now.
That's tough. Pat, did you get to see any of that match?
Oh, I didn't get to see any of it, but I'm hearing you guys talk about it. That's going to be probably the first one I go back and watch.
Yeah, I actually think that's definitely one to put on the to watch later list. Round 3, we got 2 matchups in round 3. Guama winning 2-0 against BJ, and Steve Page winning 2-0 against you, Josh. Pat, do you got any thoughts on those 2 matchups?
Not surprised. No, I'm just kidding. Definitely going to go back and watch both of those.
Yes.
But for sure, got to see the Guama BJ 2-0. I got to figure out what happened. Was Guama just on? Was BJ just off? Did he even really have any chances? It's alternate break, so he had to have some kind of a chance.
Man, yeah, Josh, did you get to watch that match?
Yeah, I watched a good chunk of that match.
I feel like BJ just never, if I remember correctly, BJ just never really had too many chances. Like I think.
How was he breaking? Because the last time we were there, I felt like BJ was one of the only ones that really figured out the break.
Yeah, well, we did. We are hammering home the no finger in the rack this time, so that kind of played a factor. Yeah, last time we were up there, we did not play that rule. So I think BJ maybe.
What do you think about because we already talked about them too. What do you think about the like when you look at them playing each other? Like what is the vibe that you get from each player from an outside perspective?
I think Guama wants to win that matchup more than BJ does. I feel like at this moment. At least
I think I agree with you. Yeah, I think Guama likes to play and beat BJ, and it's hard to sometimes people have come out to me and they're like, well, you look like you were nervous, or you look like, and I was like, no, I really wasn't. So when I think about things like that, I just don't want to like say what somebody's thinking, because you don't really know. But from an outside perspective, you can give your 2 cents. And to me, it seems like just BJ, there's something when he plays Guama that he just doesn't like, and he just looks a little bit off. And all you need to be is just a little bit off against Guama for him to take advantage of that. And that's just kind of like the aura that you get on the match. And I don't want to say what's going on BJ's mind, but that's from an outside perspective that there's something going on there.
Yeah, I kind of get that same vibe, actually. That actually is a great way to say it. Either way, I still think that's definitely – I think both those third-round matchups, Guama and BJ, and then you versus Steve, I think both those are rewatchable matches. Final Four winner side, obviously, we have both those matches on stream. We got Jazz beating Guama 2-1 and Steve Page beating Diego 2-1. Guama looked very frustrated in that match, and that was really the first time I'd ever seen that. Pat, did you watch either one of those? Have you watched either one of those yet?
No, but that's the first one I'm going back to watch. Yeah. Jazz versus Guama beating him 2-1. 100% the first one I'm going back to see, because that kid was when I was able to kind of sneak my phone out and catch some matches. Most of it was Jazz playing, and every time I saw that kid on screen, he looked like a professional moving around the table. He looked like a pro. His speed, shot making, everything. Did you see that entire match from start to finish? Were you commentating on that one?
Yeah, I commentated pretty much almost every match.
What do you think was like the big thing that got Guama so frustrated? Was he missing, or was he?
No, I think it was pace of play. Pace of play. Yeah, Guama was a little upset at the pace of the match.
And that was on the very first time on round 4, or
Yeah.
you're talking about on
No, that was in
on
round
the
4. Yeah,
finals? On round
yeah,
4.
that was in
Okay.
round 4 because Guama said something to me afterwards. Yes. Yeah. So
Gotcha.
I figured that's kind of what got to him. But Josh, did you watch either one of those Final Four matchups?
I was playing my match
Yeah.
one table over when Jazz and Wama. So Wama was on my line of vision when he was sitting down and whatnot. So I could tell he was frustrated. He was not being the nonchalant Wama that you're used to.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a little bit to be said about the pace of play. I understand that Jazz wants to win, and he wants. I get it. He's a good player. You want to prove yourself. And he's playing really good. I like him a lot, like I said before.
Oh yeah, super nice
but
kid.
Yeah, sometimes he he goes up and down 17 times in a shot, and I don't know. I've done the same thing, so I kind of can put myself on his perspective, because sometimes you just you want to win so bad, and you can't see the shot, and you want to make sure you're shooting the shot right, but at the same time, you can't take too long either,
Yeah,
so,
for sure. There's always a good pace to play at,
right?
Or an acceptable pace. But yeah, I think so. That got to Guama a little bit. You can see that he was frustrated. That puts us at the hot seat match where Jazz versus Steve Page. The hot seat match that we all thought would happen going into this tournament. I don't know about y'all, but that was my betting pick for the hot seat, was Jazz and Steve Page. Jazz beats him 2-1. Josh, is that a surprise? Is that an upset?
No, I think they play pretty close together, honestly.
Okay.
So I think it could have gone either way. I didn't see the match.
That match was probably the closest match on the stream, I think, that we had. Even BJ and Corey was a close match, but I feel like this match between Jazz and Steve was the one where I had no idea who was going to win until it was over. Does that make sense? I never was like, oh, this guy's going to win. It was like,
what was the set score?
That I don't remember off the top of my head. I think the last 2 sets both went Hill, I believe. Yeah, I think maybe Jazz won the first set 3-1, and then each of the next 2 sets went Hill.
Who would you give the edge to?
I thought Steve would win going into it, but
okay.
Obviously it didn't work out that way. But I'm always going to pick maybe the guy with the more experience, and Steve obviously has more experience, so that kind of was. But I think you're right. They pretty much play even. But I think just being under the spotlight and the hot seat, I kind of gave the experience to Steve. But I definitely to me that this might have been the most entertaining match of the day because it was so back and forth. Pat, do you got any thoughts on this match?
I was able to catch a good bit of this one too. I think that it is an upset because I do believe that from what I saw from Steven, those times I was able to kind of check in on the stream, he's definitely the better player than Jazz right now, right? Like Joshua said, he's got that experience. I think this might have been the best that Jazz was playing all night. I think this was like his top performance before I go back and double check to see what happened with with Guama. But something that I think was talked about in the chat was Jazz's pace of play. I didn't see his pace of play with Guama, so I didn't understand the reference of what the chat was making. But looking at that match, in my mind, he wasn't slow playing at all against Steve. I thought his pace was methodical, wasn't too slow. Like Josh said, sometimes you just can't see the shot. You just want to make sure that you got a good eye on that, making sure that you're making the right shot, and he's going to get down in the heat, and he was going to fire. He wasn't rushing anything, is what I saw in that match. He was taking his time and doing everything that he needed to do to make that. If I had to take only from how do I want to say this? This is probably the match of the tournament for me from everything that I was able to see. Because like you said, it was very close and both of these guys were playing some fantastic pool.
I agree. I agree. If there was one match that I would recommend from this tournament, it would be that one. So now we go to the third place match where Guama beats Steve Page 2-1. And this is the match where I really reference the fact that Guama does not try his hardest and is just kind of hitting balls. And like, I think he was just like, okay, let's hurry up and get this over with because I'm ready to play the finals. And I felt bad for Steve because Steve played good. I'm not saying Steve played bad, but Guama, it was like anytime he needed to get out, he got out. But like, he's up 2-0. Okay, he's just going to, nonchalantly miss a ball because he's not trying, or, maybe the rack's a little tougher. He just didn't seem like he was as locked in. Josh, did you watch any of this match, Guama and Steve?
No, I didn't. But I can 100% picture what you making a reference to. And I think maybe we all have kind of experienced this at some point. It's when you're 100% for a fact that you're better, or like several layers better than a player, you relax.
Yes.
And I think, you got Guama and you got BJ kind of like at the top in there. And then, obviously Mike Davis, probably Corey Sykes, right? And then there's probably like, a bunch of other players,
Oh yeah.
But when you feel like you're several levels better than a player, you automatically relax, and then that's why, and that's what's happening there, like Guama knows he's just considerably better than Steve Page, and he's able to relax. And I'm not saying that he's going to win 100% of the time, but you kind of know you're going to get your chances.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of changes a little bit when you're playing somebody your own speed. Or once you're playing somebody that's better than you. When you see Guama playing, top professional players, his style of play changes too. His demeanor changes, and I think that's natural. I think we all do it. We'll go through it at different levels. But I think that's probably what he was feeling there.
Yeah, I agree with that. Pat, did you get to see any of that match?
Not a drop, but everything Josh just said resonates 100%. You take that back to league. You get to a league match, and you're going up against, a 4 or 5, and you're might be a skill 7, 8, 9, or whatever it is. You're gonna, you're not going to try as hard as those matches where that other team throws up their best player, their 8 or their 9, and I was like, okay, now I got to fight here. So
and you're gonna play better too because you're more relaxed. It's just, and it happens at every level. The league players complain, "Oh, you always play so good against me and whatnot," but when deep down, sometimes we'll say like, "Oh, I play better than this guy," but there's a difference between what you say and like how you feel internally. And when you deep down know that you're better than the player, you kind of relax a little bit.
No, for
you
sure.
Wait for him to say something slick, like, "Is this what you want to do?" All right. All right.
No, 100%. So then we get to the finals, our very first time that we do a true double elimination. So we have the possibility of 2 sets, and sure enough, we get 2 sets. Guama beats Jazz 2-0 the first round, and basically it took 30 minutes. And I was like, okay, this is how this is going to go. And then in the second one, Jazz actually has a chance to win the match. Hill second set. He scratches on a 7-ball for the win and then ends up losing in the third set. But I mean, Jazz had a chance to win that. He wins the first set of, round 2. Hill second set. He scratches on a 7-ball. It was a tough shot. He makes a great shot on it, and just kind of the cue ball just kind of kept rolling a little bit on him. But I think you see the best of both worlds in both of these matchups. Like Guama plays incredibly perfect the first match, wins like 3-0, 3-1, I think. And then the second one goes all the way to the third set. So those were I think put together, I think they're very entertaining because you get to see kind of the best of both worlds. I mean, y'all got, Pat, what's your thoughts just on the finals, man?
I think I fell asleep at the hot seat, but like in real life, I was like, I was knocked on the bed with my phone like this. But I think from what I'm hearing from you, though, it just speaks to the night that Mr. McConaughey had, man, how well he was playing to get what sounds like absolutely smacked in your first double dip, but then to respond in such a positive way and get that first set against Guama, I think shows some grit and resilience. And I hope this guy, I hope he comes back, man. I hope he comes back and he follows us around a little bit and plays him more than just brass tackles. I would love to see his game up close in a lot more of our tournaments. I think he could be one that we would have to watch out for when the championship comes around in December.
Absolutely, 100%. Josh, what's your thoughts on the finals? Did you stay up and watch it, or did you fall asleep too?
I was already in bed. I saw Jazz status message on Facebook, about that one ball that I think he missed, or maybe he scratched, or
Yeah,
like
he
a 7 ball or
scratched.
something like that.
Yeah, the 7 ball.
He scratched, yeah. But I didn't see. I didn't see it. The best player seems like he won.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, like I think he was a blind bid in the Calcutta too, right? Was it?
Yep.
Was it Wama?
Yeah, he
Yeah,
was the first
so-
blonde bid. Yeah, he was
Yeah.
the first blonde bid. The second one was BJ, and then the third one was Mike. Obviously. Yeah. Yep. That was the
Mosconi Mike.
Yeah, Mosconi Mike. The best nickname for him. Way better than Iron Mike. Just kidding. I don't know. I don't even know
Tony
how he
Mike is the
feels.
way.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. So guys, any last thoughts on this tournament? Josh, any last thoughts on the first tournament of the year at Brass Tap?
No, man. The only thing that I can think of is when you were talking about the finals. It is you were talking about he played perfect the first set, and then things change, and it's the format will do that to you.
Oh,
yeah. I think we're a lot used to playing like races to 7, races to 9, and you think, oh, I'm on the hill, and you think you have a big gap. You might be up 2-0. Your mind tells you you're on the hill, and you're kicking this guy's butt, but everything can turn on a dime on this format.
Yeah, 100%.
I think it's good for pool.
Freeze up on us.
I think races. I'm sorry.
I thought you froze up on us for a second. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Think we could freeze?
No, you're good.
Can you hear me, Josh?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Good. Yeah, you're good now.
Yeah,
You're
so I was just talking about the format, and the format will do that to you. I think it's good. I think maybe like the absolute best player would want to do like a longer race or something like that. But I think this is good for the game. You're playing with no handicap. We're gonna see a lot of upsets, and you really have to bring your best game every single game, because it doesn't matter if you're up 2-0 and you think you're on the hill. Like, we have to learn, I guess, as a player, to just like push away that thought that like I'm not up as much as I think I am, because it can turn really quickly. So I think it's a little exciting, and I think it's also an exciting, format for the viewers, because exactly of that reason, and that's kind of what we want. I think one thing that I wanted to touch up on that we didn't mention is we got a lot of people on the stream. Every time I tuned in, there was like 60, 70 people watching, man.
Yeah, I think we topped out at 90 something is what I saw. We were consistently though in the 50 to 60 range. So yeah, that's awesome. More people are liking us. Maybe the switch to YouTube was big, but also, maybe just the fact that people like us. I mean, the format is exciting, I think, because you never know. It's not like in a race of 7, if somebody's up 5-0, you're like, oh, this is over. In our format, if somebody's up 5-0, it's only 2. That's only 2-0 in the second set, and they could still lose. So, I mean, yeah, absolutely. I'm glad that everybody's watching. Pat, what's your last thoughts on the Brass Tap tournament?
Man, if this is how we're starting, bro, 2025 is about to be something crazy. I can't wait. I can't wait to see it. I hope we get more of Charlotte coming out to Statesville and sprinkling into Raleigh kind of coming out of Charlotte a little bit, coming to Statesville. Like, I hope we get this kind of good mix of pool players around the state that, as they can, kind of follow us around. We appreciate everybody watching on the stream. The numbers were absolutely nuts from the first time the live stream went up. I was already in there. It was 20 30 in the first match. We have never gotten that.
No, yeah. Usually it was a slow build.
Yeah, usually it's me, you, and a couple of our parents that are watching it. But I think
hey, Pat, you got some secrets you want to divulge? I saw some of your comments
on streaming
on the chat. Yeah.
No, that'll be I'll divulge all my secrets at the end of the year. Okay, whatever you want to know. But I think to your guys' point, we've got a great format. This is literally for every level of pool player that wants to come out and compete, from the lowest of lows to the highest of highs. It's exciting for the viewers. I think it's a clean way to present the best part of the game to someone who's brand new to pool that may be interested in getting into it.
That's a good point. That's a
Um,
good point.
I love what we're doing here at the pool series and making the game more accessible and entertaining for everyone. So super looking forward to this year, man. It's only going to get bigger and better.
Yes, it's going to be a great year. Obviously, the point standings right now are after the first event. We pretty much know what the points look like. You just look at how this tournament turned out. So nothing really to talk about there. So Guama leads the way. We'll see if he comes back and plays enough to stay at the top. Mike Davis, the defending champion. So we do got 2 tournaments coming up. February 15th at Smoking Q, non-ball, and March 1st at Smoking Q, also 1 pocket. Josh, are we going to see you at either tournament? And, are you excited to at least watch both those tournaments?
Yeah, 100%. I'll try and make maybe one of the 2. Like I said, I need to find a reason to practice again. So I gave my cue away.
Yeah.
I'm waiting to get it back. It's getting worked on. So I'm gonna see when I get it back, and then I'll let you know about this weekend. If not, I like maybe starting to play one pocket a little bit. Play some tournaments. So that weekend exciting, and all the events are $1,000 at it. All of them.
Yes, and they're also all points events as well. So if you want to get points to qualify for the championship, and the 1 pocket is a great tournament to get started with because it's a low entry fee, $50 or $60 if you don't have a membership yet. And it's a race to 2. So literally everybody has a chance to win. It's not like, races to 3 or 4 where if you're playing a really good 1 pocket player, you might not have a chance. Race to 2 in 1 pocket is about as much of a toss-up as you're going to get. So I highly recommend if you want to start playing 1 pocket to come play in that tournament.
Is it 2 out of 3 sets?
No, it's just one race to 2.
Just 1 race to 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Double elimination.
Yeah, double elimination. Yeah, double elimination. Okay. But yeah, just 1 race to 2. So it can go quick. We've seen some matches get over with in like 15 minutes, and we've seen some take 2 hours still. So you never know with 1 pocket. Pat, are we going to see you at either tournament? And are you super excited for your first 1 pocket event? Because that was one that you missed last year, actually.
It is, and that's actually going to be my pool series debut this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's going to be at the 1 pocket event. Yeah, I'm going to miss this weekend. I got to fly out to Arizona, but March 1st, I should be in the building. Should be there, and I'm halfway excited. Look, I'm a keeper. I can't watch 1 pocket on YouTube. Okay, I can't sit there and watch it. It bores me to tears. It's like reading a book. It just puts me to sleep. So I figured, hey, let me try to, put another little something in the repertoire. Let me compete, learn to 1 pocket, see some of the better players who enjoy it up front, close. What are they doing? See if I can find some enjoyment out of this, right? So yeah, I'm a little bit excited to play the 1 pocket because it'll be something different.
It'll help improve all your other games also. Like it really does.
You don't know. You don't know.
It really does, man. I love 1 pocket. Actually, I'm super excited for that tournament. But guys, thank you so much. The TPS Reports, episode 1 of 2025. This has been a lot of fun. Josh Padrone, thank you so much, my friend. You got any last words?
Anytime.
Awesome. Pat Dixon, you got any last words?
See you March 1st.
All right. And we'll check you later.
See you guys.